everybody, it's Allora, and we are back with another episode of STW. I am here with my soul siblings, Avalon Cameron. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
And Chase, 2 L's.
Yo, yo.
And tonight we are actually going to be talking about project updates, things that have been decidedly put on the back burner due to the response that we did or did not get on certain projects. We are going to cover our personal year cards. That smoke over there, nothing's on fire, that's incense. And it all of a sudden has decided to walk this way when it was going that way. But so we're talking our personal year cards in tarot, and then we're going to get into the big three and how to make friends with them: the devil, death, and the tower. So as we always do, we're going to start this broadcast off with a news section, and Avalon's going to start that. So go ahead and take it away.
Hi, folks. All right, so my news is pretty limited this time around, I must say. I do know that Ethany, beautiful Ethany, is rocking her tarot summer school, search. I think she might have finished searching. And I would like to say, just in celebration of myself and my own personal awesomeness, that she has made my ritual tarot course a legacy course. So it was enjoyed by so many people last year that it's now a permanent course available on the Tarot Readers Academy, of which I am so totally stoked. So I was very surprised, I must say, and I'm not saying this from like I was so surprised. No, that was my very first digital course. I'd always done in-person workshops. I'd never done a digital course. I didn't know what to do, how much to write, how much to film. I just winged it. I really did. I just winged it. And then to have so many people enjoy what I did while I was going at it blind. The content itself wasn't blind, but me personally, that was pretty blind. I'm like, what is everybody else doing? You know, there's a benchmark usually. There's a benchmark. You know what's expected of you. 5 pages of this, 20 minutes of that, you know. There was nothing. It was nothing. I was like free. And so this year I have been invited back, thanks to me. And I'm going to be doing tarot and witchcraft, so spell crafting and witch's ritual with tarot. And I'm going to be including a little beginner's handout for those who are not familiar with the tarot. So that's my own personal news. Bonestone and Earth Flesh, I'm almost 16,000 words into my guidebook, so very excited. I'm at the star card. Oh, and I didn't say this. I've decided to name my star card it's kind of based on my friend Chase, 2 L's, and it is going to be 2 eagles, because I'm not sure if you know, but there's eagles that come out of the star. And I thought, yeah, that sounds about right, because everybody thought that it actually was him in the card. So I've decided to go the 2 eagles, and I'm sure those who know will understand where I'm going with that. So yay! And as for more news, Anna's Tarot of the Abyss is evolving beautifully. So I would like for you guys to take a look at that if you have the opportunity to do so, because Anna is simultaneously working on the Tarot of the Abyss. This is her deck, and it's all pen and ink. It is no color, and it is vividly detailed, and it is absolutely stunning. On top of that, she's working on the Bonestone and Earth Flesh Tarot deck. Give Anna a big shout out. She's amazing in every way, shape, or form. Now, I would also like to say that Gillian C. Wilde of the Naked Heart Tarot has recently released her Naked Heart Tarot to the people, and pre-orders went out. Unfortunately, she hit a bit of a wall with that, and it was unknown to her, but several of the decks that came out of the warehouse had been printed, packaged, etc., and they were faulty, despite the fact that there was a quality check done at the printing house, and she did a quality check in her own premises of several decks that were sent out to her for her to take a look at. And so she has received a little bit of a backlash, and I would just like to remind everyone who is listening anyway, and who could potentially listen to this in future, there comes a point where the creator of an indie deck has to hand over that creation to other people, and the quality control is out of their hands. And she absolutely did everything in her power to make sure that that deck would be perfect, and was absolutely gutted to see that several, faulty decks went out. And this was outside of her power to control, guys. This is not something that she can herself control. So she's done all the right things. She has suspended sales of her deck, even though, people are still wanting to buy her deck. She has explained to why. She will be talking to her printer. She'll be talking to her print broker and figuring out exactly what she can do from now on, because she wants to make sure that whatever she sends out is of supreme quality. And this is something that you all need to understand. It happens. Faults from printers happen, whether you're looking at books or stationery. We're looking at tarot cards, and it happens. And, there's no point in getting aggressive or rude about it. It's just a fact of life. Factory faulty is a thing. We understand that with clothes. We understand that with shoes. We understand that with cars. We understand that with most things. But apparently, as soon as you get a faulty tarot deck, the creator is an asshole and they're lynched. So don't do it. Pull your head in. And that is about. No, I've got more. I've got more to say. What was my other news? I found a deck. But now it's completely lost because I didn't write it down. But there's lots and lots of new decks being released at the moment, and lots of Kickstarter projects. And I've got to say, I'm genuinely quite hesitant to jump on a Kickstarter. I haven't yet jumped on a Kickstarter since the Prisma Visions, but I know that James Eads has got the Visions of Light tarot coming out, which is very exciting, and that will be a deck that I think it's on its way to me, and I will be doing an unboxing of that deck. But if you liked the Prisma Visions, and the Prisma Vision was incredibly popular, you will probably like the Visions of Light, although it's the same style, but it's a different take. Different approach. So that's about it, guys, from me.
All right. If you guys like this broadcast, please like, share it, all that good stuff while we're still in the news portion. That way, when we get to the juicy stuff, we'll have everybody in here. Chase, let's hear from you. What is your latest news these days?
Well, I feel like this is gonna go about like Avalon when she said, I don't have a lot, and then she ended up having a lot. So because the more I'm sitting here, the more is coming into my head. So the first thing that I wanted to share with you, and this is news that I just received actually a little bit earlier, like an hour and a half ago probably. I was sitting in Arwen Lynch's unboxing video of her Naked Heart Tarot deck that she received from Jillian. And she was talking about, and I don't have any more details than this, but I did want to go ahead and share it. So there is going to be a tarot deck coming out that is going to be called the Sacred Masculine Tarot. And I thought it was timely for me to hear this news because, as you guys know, I am going through my Man Up series with Goran from 78 Midnight House. Right now we're sort of in this exploring divine masculine, sacred masculine, and kind of what it means to us in the spiritual community. And so if you have not watched that, please go out to my channel or Goran's channel and watch that, because we're only one episode in, but we're already talking about some really good, just juicy, real life stuff. And so, and you get to see me open up for like the first time ever. So it's worth it. It's worth it. And so we have that going on. We are, and by we I mean Christine and I are of course underway, working all the time on the Red Earth Oracle, and we are hopefully going to be setting a date for our next Red Earth rally. And what else do I have? Hold on, hold that thought. Hold that thought. That's it. I'm done.
That's it. I'm done. Okay. Now it's my turn, I suppose. Well, first and foremost, the most important news of the day is I got this awesome ass coffee mug at Kmart for like $5. And it has a lid. I'm so excited. But it says create your own magic. So that was my find of the week, my little what you find of the week. But anyways, as far as actual news goes, so I'm working on basically an elemental witching workshop mentorship combo thing. And I just finished with the element of water, which water is my shadow element, and it takes me forever to do anything with water. Like I wrote the stuff for fire in a day. Water took me 2 weeks. So that was fun. But now I'm on air. Yay. So I only have air and earth left to write. And it's coming out this month. So I'm super excited about that. I don't have pricing yet because I'm not sure. But it's going to be an ongoing type mentorship. You'll get things from me. You'll get personalized journal prompts, things like that. And we'll email back and forth. It's that kind of thing. So that's why I haven't priced it out yet. Other news, which is so funny because Avalon went on and on about all her news and she forgot that we are collaborating on a workshop that we're actually going to do in Cairns. And
I didn't forget. I left it for you.
I'm like, wait, and then I'm like, this bitch forgot.
No, I didn't. I just talked so much. I'm like, I ended up having so much to talk about. I'm like, oh, and now I'll stop because others need to.
But we're actually doing, we're collaborating and doing an in-person workshop, and it's along the same lines as Avalon's tarot class for Ethany, except for, so the difference, I guess, for the workshop will be that this is mainly hoodoo and low magic related. And I don't know if your workshop for Ethany is going to be geared towards that, but this one will be.
No. Mine is all magic, all magics. I'm not specifically heading in a particular direction. I'll touch on most things in it, but this one is particularly like it's old conjure style, which is very prevalent. You know, where I come from as a Brazilian woman, it's prevalent in America, it's prevalent in Africa, it's prevalent in the base places where, you know, culture thrives essentially, and people are awesome. So let's go and do some old school magics.
Yeah.
I've been shopping for chicken's feet online.
Have you? Yay. Yeah, so it's going to be conjure style. So conjure, root work, hoodoo, macumbe, all that stuff. Like, yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be fun. And it's going to be, hopefully, we're working out all the details, but it's actually hopefully going to be a thing where it's most of the day. And like there's lunch in between and so it's going to be awesome. So we're doing that, and I'm thinking if I have anything else. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah. You know what? I'm going to say this because so Chase and I both, without knowing, we subscribed to Gaia.com at the same time. Let me tell you guys, that website is amazing. Like, there's any style of yoga that you do. Because see, so here's my thing. Like, I wanted to get back into yoga, but I don't have time to go to a studio, and I don't have a car. Like, I'm in a different country. Like, whatever. So I was like, well, how can I do this without a studio? Because I've always gone to a studio, because I didn't want, the free YouTube 5-minute videos. So I looked into it, and Gaia.com has like thousands of yoga videos with different styles and tastes and anything that you're pretty much looking for. But they have yoga, but they also have like documentaries on past life regression, documentaries on shamanism, documentaries on just the coolest shit, conspiracy theory stuff, mindfulness, diet. So it's 99 cents for the first month, and then and this is US dollars, and then $9.95 or $9.99, something like $10 a month after that. And I think that it's a really good investment. And yet, like yesterday, I watched a documentary called Crazy Wise about shamanism and mental illness together. Like it blew my mind. And then I also watched one on past life regression, and that was just amazing. So if you guys are looking for something new to kind of boost your spiritual practice and get you thinking outside the box, Gaia.com has a lot of stuff on there. So check that out. All right. So let's dive in. Year card. So this is something that's interesting. So your tarot year card, you take your birth month, your birthday, and the year that it is. So for me, it would be 9/22/2018, and you add that all together, But here's my thing. So I have a question for you numerologists out there, because I don't know. It's what I read. Not sure. So there is something that says when you're doing this personal year business, you add a 1 after you've come up with your number. Does anybody know about that? Because Avalon and I are pretty much like, what is going, like, we're stumped as to why.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a thing. So I don't know where that comes from, because if I don't add a 1, my card is a 1 card. But if I do add a 1, it's the next card up. So I'm not sure. But if you Google it, like, it's legit. Like, just Google real quick, Soren, and Google how to get a personal year or something like that, and it will tell you add this up and then add a 1, and you're like, what? Like, it's a thing. I don't know. Does anybody know? Anybody? Bueller.
I've got to say, I don't understand the 1. I looked, now, the night that we were having this conversation, I had just come back from a party where I had several different types of alcohol into one. I started with a punch. I went to a beer. I had a red wine, a rosé, a champagne, more punch, more beer, more red wine, then a whole bottle of red. And then I was inebriated. First time I was inebriated, and Allora was legit trying to have this conversation with me about tarot numerology and why you carry the 1, and I was being such a belligerent bitch. I'm like, I don't understand it.
She's like, this is fucking stupid. You already had a fucking 1. Like, hey, let me talk to you later.
My husband left the room. He hates it. We were just talking about this before. He hates it when I swear. He's shit out of luck, that one. He doesn't understand that it's part of my my primary communication
charm.
It's
well, while you guys are looking into that or asking a buddy, because I'm really curious if I should add a 1 or not, because that will change my card. But while you guys are looking into that,
too.
Yeah, it'll change everybody's card. But while that's being researched and what have you, projects. So the tarot deck, the Sacred Threads Tarot, is put on the back burner for now indefinitely. And we just didn't get the response that we needed to complete a full tarot deck. So for now, it has been suspended. We may revisit it at some point if we want to, if we get more interest than we got. So for now, that one's on the back burner. And then Iron Witch is another one that's kind of in limbo. It's not in limbo. We're still doing that one. But we have to figure out some of the logistics because we have gotten not the response we were looking for that one as well. But I think we know that we can rework that and figure out a better way to do it. So that's where we are on those projects. Whoa, why are we yelling?
Why not?
We are. Like, that is straight up. Wow. Are you excited? Is that what that is? Is that excited capital?
Yeah, Christina can do that. Hell yeah, I'm excited.
But I did want to tell you guys, for all of those of you who actually did submit artwork, it was fabulous. Like, some of the pieces blew me away. Okay. Maybe doing an oracle would be easier, less cards. Maybe.
That could be a nice direction to go too. And I say this coming from the same mistake I made personally, is that trying to do a tarot deck obviously didn't work for me. And then all of a sudden I switched over to oracle and all the pieces came together. So that may be something that we do too. And it could be, honestly, I think it may have something to do. Well, first let me say this and then I'll finish that statement. I just want to remind you guys that everything that we do is driven by you guys. You are the reason that we are here, the reason that we do things. So, and I say that preemptively because I know that, you know, somebody's going to be upset that we're not doing this deck, and you know, I don't want any you know, it's not any negativity towards anyone. We're not, you know, tonight sitting here saying we're not doing this because of you, but just be mindful that, you know, you drive us. And so when we set up projects, and right now we're just sort of setting up ideas, and we're seeing what sticks and we're seeing what doesn't, and you know, we have this platform, and we want to use this to the best of our abilities because we do have a voice, and I mean, not just we STW, like you guys make up STW. We have a voice, and we're really just trying to figure out how we can best do that. And you know what? If the tarot deck wasn't it, cool. You know, if it wasn't Iron Witch, cool. I hope so. I think Iron Witch is a badass idea, and I want that to take off, or I wanted that for the deck too. But just be mindful that it's driven by you. So maybe what we need to do is really bring you guys into the decision-making process. And I don't think that's nothing that we haven't done before. But, you know, like, tell us what it is that you want. What would you be interested in doing? What would you like? And think about, you know, truly honestly, because we had a whole lot of people that were so excited about this tarot deck. And we have so many people like, yeah, that's an awesome idea. I want to do it. And then, like, when it came time to do it, we got such little response. We were, like, shocked by it. We were like, what? Like, this was so weird to not have. So, you know, we're kind of taken aback by it a little bit. But again, it's not to say it's anybody's fault. But we want to use our voice, all of that saying. We want to use this voice in this platform. So I really want us to figure out, you know, where our place is. And like, I think we are such a progressive mind and a progressive voice that I think we could honestly, if we came together, we could take on the world. And so I want us to be able to do those things. We have big ideas and big plans, but we just really want to have you guys in mind, and we want to have your support when we do these things. So that was it. That was all.
Well said, darling. Well said.
Well said, darling. Okay, so personal year though. Does anybody know the in one, or are we foregoing the one? Because we can do that.
I don't like this one business. And yes, I did send a message to B-Wen because she's the smartest person I know, aside from my dad. He doesn't know too much about numerology, so I went with her instead of him. And I don't. She's busy, guys. I don't know when I'll hear back from her, but I want to know. And somebody has to tell me because I don't understand it. And if I don't understand it, then I will refuse to accept it. It's ignorant at its best.
Yeah, forego the one. I don't like it. Mainly because I already know what my card is.
Okay, fine. All right, ready, go. Avalon, you start. What's your card?
Mine's the Lovers. It's the Lovers. And
where did Chase go?
I think he stepped off.
Okay, I thought your computer like shut out.
My screen just went empty, and I was like, hello. There I am. Okay, all right. All is well. All is well. Please continue.
Okay.
I think this is funny because I think this is what we were kind of talking about the other day. I think I had the Lovers. Oh, no, totally separate card. I was very drunk the other night. Just forget what I just said. So the 6, Lovers, co-creation and partnership. Allora and I are going to co-create. We co-create quite a bit, the 3 of us. I'll be co-creating with Tarot Summer School. I'll be co-creating on a couple of other things. I'm co-creating, obviously, with Anna Turian as well. And I'm just a co-creator. I'm not a creator. I'm a co-creator. I'm an instigator and a co-creator. That's me. That's me. But it works well. And I've got to say that the non-traditional, or the more not non-traditional, the more traditional aspect of the Lovers is oftentimes viewed as romance. You know, romance. And I'm calling for a bit of romance in my life right now. I need to include some more romantic notions. And I'm not talking about external romance as an acts of bold romance, sweeping gestures directed at me. I'm talking about me being softer and more romantic with myself, really allowing myself to be pampered in a very lavish way, which is very Taurian for all you Tauruses out there. You'd be like, yes, yes, Egyptian cotton sheets, fluffy pillows, and just the good stuff, spa treatments, and nails and massage, you know, that kind of business. I need to get in touch with a little bit of that, a little bit of self-care, a little bit of self-love, a little bit of romance directed at myself. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. That's it for me. That's about as nurturing and lovely as I can be, really, with that card.
Well, you didn't do too bad. It's okay.
I went all right. Like, I'm not being harsh on myself.
We know you shed one tear a year, so we're not looking for the feels from you.
Thanks, mate. But I'm going to make a quick cuppa. I'll be in my kitchen, which is just there, so I'll still be able to hear you, but don't sing out for me just yet.
Gotcha. Okay, Chase, it's your turn. What is your year card this year?
My year card this year is the Magician, which is funny because since this year has started, the only conversations I've had with other people are about me creating something. And I thought, I've been very minded of owning my own studio for a very long time. And I think I'm looking in the wrong direction. I don't know if I am or not. That's the funny part. I don't know if I'm looking in the wrong direction or not, because I'm genuinely really passionate about the fit biz, and I want to dominate the fit biz. It's been a goal of mine since I was 20. And so, it's not something that I want to give up. But we were just discussing earlier today, and I was discussing with a client earlier today, also with my soul sisters, about how I could create my own spiritual business. And, it was in really simple ways that, I had the conversation. I was like, well, I could do that. Yep, I could do that too. Well, that'd be easy. Why don't I just do that? Why am I not doing this? So I think this is honestly going to be a creation year for me. I think everything is laid out for me, and I just have to kind of pick and choose and, line up all my tools. And I think that this year could happen for me, which is very magician energy. So I will gladly take this card and I will put it into the back of my planner and make sure that it represents me all and every day.
Okay, Natalie, I'm going to have to ask you how you came up with that your year card is the 7 of Cups. Like, we're talking trumps. Like, what, like the major cards? What is your year major? And as for me, my year card this year, this is my favorite Lover's card of all time, so I'm using it, is the Lover's card. I thought last year was a 6 year for me, but no, if we don't add the 1, this year is a 6 year for me, and last year was a 5 year, which makes a whole lot of sense because my life completely changed, like total 180 last year. Well, not total 180. I mean, I'm still in school and things like that, but just the direction in which I was traveling in just went whoop, like mid-year, and I was like, oh, hey, yeah, going in a different direction. So Avalon talked about the co-creative aspect of the Lover's card, and also talked about the romantic side of the Lover's card. And both of those are in play for me this year, definitely. I mean, I'm living with my partner in Australia, and I'm co-creating this workshop with Avalon, which is going to be amazing. I'm so excited. So yeah, lots of creative stuff, lots of romantic, and in my case, the sweeping gestures, the Nicholas Sparks type shit is what we do in this house. But yeah,
that's so lovely. That's so lovely.
How much Nicholas Sparks is there? Because I believe we just had this conversation too, that it shifts from Nicholas Sparks.
There's like
real easy, as far as I remember the conversation going.
But you have to have Nicholas Sparks for the other.
You don't have to. Some people just come in with whips and chains and just make it happen.
It's 50 Shades of Grey, mate. You've got it wrong.
Right?
Oh my God. But anyway, so my year card is the Lover's card. Jesus. Oh God. Okay, I have to go to the bathroom. So one of you start with.
Wait. I got a message back from B-Wan. If I recall, it is based on different tarotists published. Mary Greer taught it one way. Another tarot author taught a different approach. So there's obviously multiple schools of thought on the carrying of the one. So
yeah, because I told you that. I said the one is in Pythagorean numerology.
Is in what?
Pythagorean numerology.
Oh, you did say that to me, yeah.
It's all coming back.
She was like, I was drunk, and all I could process was there was a 1, and I was like, no, this can't be happening.
I'm like, why? And the description that I got from it was, you add the 1 for the year, and I'm like, well, how does that work? Because you've already added the 2018, which is the year. Why then do you add a second 1? I feel like I need a mathematician to explain this to me, because maths, friends and family, it's not my strong point, okay? So I need to know if this is so stupid that I don't understand it, or if I'm so stupid and it's very smart and I don't understand it. Either way, I don't understand.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it in the slightest. I don't get it.
Okay.
On a side note, Anna just messaged me a card. Never heard of the +1 approach. Ah, there you go.
Okay.
That's BWEN.
Okay. Well, then we are not adding the 1.
No.
Everyone says hi.
Okay, so we are discussing the big 3 and how to make friends with them, which, so the big 3 is the Tower, Death, and the Devil. I saw a comment in the chat. I can't remember your full name, I'm sorry, but there was a Bella in there. And she was saying that her year card is the Tower, sadly. And I think we should start with the Tower because it's probably the scariest of it's probably the scariest card in the deck for most people. But the Tower doesn't have to be looked at as a complete destruction. I mean, it is a complete destruction, but it's not without fresh rebuilding. And I like to look at the Tower more as destroying something to make room for something better. So maybe it's an old belief that needs to go, or a relationship that's really toxic that you really shouldn't be in to begin with, things of that nature. So Avalon, if you want to talk about that, I will be right back.
Yeah.
Can I interject for just a slight second?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So kind of my school of thought on the Tower card, and we all know that I sit a little bit left because I don't like to be put in a box. But like my view of the Tower card is more of, and I get this, I think mainly because I study a lot with this deck. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the Tower card is represented by just this giant wall of, I envision the Tower as being built to block something. And so in order to reveal that thing that's being blocked, what has to happen? Well, that tower's got to fall. And so I look at it more as you got to get rid of all the bad shit in order to see the sunshine over the tower. So knock it down so that you can get to the sun card, you know? It's just like an obstacle that has to go. It's not negative. It's not scary. It's just like a progression. It's something that has to be done. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think depending on who you are and what the circumstances, of course, you can have, there are multiple ways of looking at any card in the tarot. And it really does depend on which cards surrounded in a full reading. And if you just pulled one card for a one-day reading, then chances are it's not going to be the destructive outpouring that you're expecting just from that one card. Will something destabilize? Will something crumble? Yes, but it could be something as easy as you break all your eggs in a carton on that day, like you accidentally drop them on the ground, and it's very minor in the grand scheme of things. If it's in a result position, in a reading, that's quite another. And the cards at either side will, of course, influence the tone of that. If you've got an overly positive reading, or an overly positive deposit of cards on the table in front of you, and the Tower card is there, then chances are the Tower card can mean a stroke of genius or an epiphany or a lightning bolt. You might hear from someone that you haven't heard from for fucking ages, and it's just like, boom, bolt from the blue. You hear from this person, and it changes. It changes your life. It could be an old lover straight after a divorce kind of thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be, the worst thing in the world, but when it is the worst thing in the world, then it's also the most necessary thing in the world. And the reason why people feel so intensely about it and fear it in such a way is because the Tower appears when something needs to go. Something needs to change in your life. And not just that, it's not like death where something needs to end or it's heralding an end, but it's the uncomfortable change. By the time you reach the Tower, it's because you haven't taken action on your own. And life and the universal system that is at flow, you might look at it as deity, however you see the divine, it's going to crumble, it's going to squeeze really hard and everything's going to break. And there's warning signs. There's warning signs before that. And you will know in your heart of hearts when you're looking at a card, if you saw the progression of those warning signs, the build up to this mass event, you'll feel it in your body. And in that case, it's going to be big. In other cases, it's simply going to be, it's just got to go. I give up. I quit on this. I just fucking quit on this. I'm going to throw it out the window. I quit on this. I don't want anything to do with it. And you just trash the project and walk away. It's your own choosing. You can do that. You can be as much in control of the Tower or as much at the mercy of the Tower as you want to be. The idea behind a tarot reading and having an empowered tarot reading is that you understand which side of the fence you sit on when that Tower card appears. Are you at the mercy of it? Is there anything that you can do? Or are you the one that's going to instigate that? And chances are, if the Tower appears, I will always say to my clients, it's got to go. You push for it to end. You take the brave step and you pull that shit apart yourself before it pulls you apart. And that's basically how it is for me. Allora.
Hi. Chase, do you want to add anything to that? Oh, he's staying 1 second. While he's doing that, I don't know what happened. Probably needs to be plugged in so he doesn't die. Yeah.
Indeed, we're good. I was making all kinds of noise trying to find the charging cable. So things was like, you're at 10%. I was like, fuck. So, but I'm here. No, I don't. I mean, not really. Avalon said it very beautifully. So.
Yeah, did you guys, I'm going to show the cards that I pulled out of the decks that I have sitting near me, because, so I chose my scariest deck that I own, to pull, well, I'd say, yeah, it's probably still the scariest, but, Tarot the Vampire. So the Tower in the Tarot Vampire looks like that, which is really so super scary. And then this is interesting. Like, I love this depiction because you think fantastical creatures. So in fantastical creatures, it's the Kraken just taking it out. So
I love the Kraken.
Right?
And it's still like this depiction of this big thing that blocks out the sun, just going along with what I was saying earlier. It blocks things. It's just massive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten a new love for the Kraken since we had Karis on. Like ever since then, I'm like, oh.
She did it so beautifully, didn't she? She really made you look at it from her perspective. I think she genuinely had an experience, you know? Like someone who had a genuine experience with that creature. I loved it. I loved everything about it.
Yeah, and I mean, Avalon, you pretty much said everything that either of us would say as far as the Tower goes. And, you know, someone else who did a really great video, and it wasn't that long ago, was Gypsy Chick, when she was going through a Tower experience in her life. And she titled the video Tower Time. And she basically walked everybody through the steps of, like, how this happened. And it was quite phenomenal. And, yeah, I mean, Tower can represent huge life changes, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't always. Maybe that day you're just going to have to rearrange your day. You know what I mean? Like, it depends, like Avalon said, where it comes up, how it comes up, what's around it.
A catastrophe as opposed to a major catastrophe, depending on where, you know, on where you are. And in keeping with what you just said, Allora, Moon513 just did a video on pagan parenting. And her video of pagan parenting was about 45 minutes long, and she discusses the dark night of the soul, which is another concept that is attached to the tarot. And she will allow you to step into her space of pain through that video. You might even shed a few tears because it was very emotive, and you will see something that is quite beautiful when you do, because she puts you in touch with the star card through that. She puts you into that place of complete surrender, and that place of acceptance, and that place of non-judgment, and this is where you are, this is what's happened, and you've got to come to terms with it. And it's that place of acceptance and non-judgment, and that's a very pure state of mind to be in. It's where healing begins. If you are in a state of judgment and a state of disbelief, if you are in a state of resistance, there will be no healing for you. And your dark night of the soul will be a cycle of the dark night of the soul. You'll just keep looping around and around. But eventually you'll reach the bottom. And when you reach the bottom, you can see that star. And she says so beautifully in her video. And so if you've ever wanted to see the darker side of that card, I invite you to go and have a look at I think it's her most recent video. The one from Gypsy Chick, I've seen that one as well. It's fucking beautiful. It will get you in a great state of mind, because it's said from personal perspective. And personal perspective within tarot is the most valuable thing. It gives you a person-to-person connection and a humanistic connection that is non-philosophical. It's based on experience, and you can see that experience had taken place, and it's easier to connect with that than it is with philosophy and, a variety of different philosophies, as is oftentimes the case with resources and tarot. You can see the write-up for the tarot card, 50,000 different ways, 50,000 different keywords, 50,000 representations, of the image. But when it comes down to it, how does it apply in your life? How did it apply in somebody else's life, in a friend or a lover's life, or, a community's, cycle, etc. So it's important to take multiple perspectives on that. Okay, so how would you make friends with it then? Make friends with the tarot card.
Okay, so I got this one. I was already thinking. So I was going to say, when it comes to, so we're talking a lot about letting go and not resisting change and allowing things to happen. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do that without being empowered and basically being a bystander while all these things change around you and you're a victim and you're helpless and you're in that victim mentality. Because that's something that I see a lot with people, is that they get into this victim mentality because they don't have the tools, or they don't know where they can assert some of their own power. So with the tarot card, with whatever's going on, I like to, especially if I'm doing in-person readings, like I have this saying, and I tell all of my clients when they sit down, you're never going to leave my reading table empty-handed. Like, once, the reading is finished, I'm going to give you tools. And what you do with that, that's up to you. But I want people to leave my reading table feeling empowered to do something about their current situation if the reading is less than positive or whatever. So I think it's really important to kind of dissect the situation where the tarot card is concerned and find out, like, where you can be empowered. Even if it's something where you have very little control, I think there's always ways where you can feel empowered. So let's just say, for instance, this is just a for instance. I don't do health readings, but so let's say the tarot card comes up and somebody tells you, oh yeah, well, I just found out that I have cancer. And I can say this because I have a chronic illness, so everybody just calm down. But anyways, let's say you have cancer, chronic illness, whatever, and your world is kind of crumbling around you because this is something totally new. You have no experience with this, et cetera, et cetera. So can you control the fact that you have this thing that you have to deal with? No, you can't. But what can you control? You can control what you're eating. You can control things like that, how you're exercising, when you exercise. Can you exercise? Can you work in, pick up a new hobby that helps you release stress, or a new mode of meditation or alternative healing or whatever. So that's what I mean by finding the places of empowerment within the tarot card.
I like that. I'd like to add something. I've got a lot to say, apparently. Today's my day. I would like to say that in most images of the tarot, this is the deviant moon right here. See the light there? And then you've got the tower card in the wooden tarot, which is beautiful, but it's like stuff falling. Like you've still got the lightning strike at the top. And then you've got, this is from the bonfire, you've got that prominent lightning strike from the top. So this to me says something, that it's nature, it's divine, right? What happens when the tower comes into play is a divine hand literally reaching into your life and stirring it around. And if you keep that in mind, what happens to you in a tower moment is not a personal attack on you, but a lesson. That lesson can appear as, through a terrible interaction with another person. It can be a car accident. It could be getting fired. It could be, having a conversation, having a secret revealed to you, for instance, that changes your entire life, And, and there's so many other examples. I'm going for the most heinous at the moment, apparently, because it's the tower. But there are so many examples, where you learn something extremely, extremely valuable, because the tower is the great lesson, the great divine lesson. Those who have had a dark night of the soul know exactly what I'm talking about. Those that have hit the rock bottom understood the value of that lesson. And chances are they'll never get back to that place again, because that lesson was so intense that they will recall the importance of that lesson for the rest of their lives. So when the tower hits in a very big way, it oftentimes only does it once. Now, I'm not going to say that that's the case for everyone, because I do know people personally in my life that have had a succession of negative events. I don't wish to necessarily touch on this now, but I would like to acknowledge that as a cycle of non-acceptance. And I'm not going to say anything beyond that. I'm also not going to say that it's anybody's fault. It is or it's not anybody's fault, That's for a psychologist to analyze, not me, the tarot reader witch. So look at it as a lesson. Don't look at it as a personal attack. Like, what can this situation teach you? What can that person who has just come into your life and was a complete asshat, why did they come into your life? Why did they say that? Why on that day? Why at that time? And why did it make you feel that way? That's a fucking lesson. Look at it as it is. It's not an attack. It's a lesson. It's only an attack if you punch them. That's the only time it's an attack, or if they punch you, in which case that's conflict. We're in the suit of wands all of a sudden. and
this just went way left.
You've taken it to another place entirely. You've taken it to another card.
And this is what happens 9 times out of 10, especially behind the scenes. You just wish you can't breathe, and then the tears come, and then we're here in this place for the rest of the broadcast. So we're going to let her catch her. I don't know. That's just got me laughing. See, this is what happens every time. This is why we cannot be without adult supervision. And we don't have one on this show.
I tell you what, you know what I mean though? Like when you start to add elements on top of the tarot card from a tarot reader perspective, you start to know exactly what cards they represent. Oh my God, you've got a bit of the wands come in there, and all of a sudden you've taken it to a dark place with the nine of swords. Like, you add the extra influences to the card, and you're creating a tarot reading in your own mind. It's a beautiful thing. It's a tarot talk thing.
Okay, is that all that you wanted to say on the tower, or are you trying to compose yourself so you can finish? Okay, you're done. Okay, so Chase, anything?
Yeah, no, I like what Avalon was saying. I do want to add a little bit of in regards of a personal attack. We, especially right now, I feel like we're sitting in such a place socially, and where everybody is so offended by shit. And I feel like, and I say that not to like get onto a political rant. That wasn't where I was going with that, but like that will change your perspective of a card, when you like the things that we're going through and the things that we are surrounding ourselves by, and it can really change the what we see in a particular card. And the point of me saying that is that in order to get a really balanced feel and a non-intimidating energy from a card like the Tower is to open up our perspective. We have to be willing to step beyond where we're comfortable because, again, like I was saying earlier, because beyond that tower is a sun. So you can't sit there and wallow in a crumbled tower because at some point you're going to start to see sun rays, and then it's just like the cycle of life. You can't sit there and wallow in it because we know there's something next. Life is always moving. If there's good, there will be bad. If there is bad, there will be good. It just keeps going, and it keeps, so sitting and wallowing in it and being scared of it and avoiding it is just never the right answer. It's never the right answer, and it never will be. Do not be scared. Do not be afraid. Do not run from it. Just tackle it and just get it over with so we can all have sunshiny moments. The end.
Yeah, but that's kind of like saying, not everyone has the ability or the want to run into the burning building because we're taught not to do that. Like
that's a fireman's job.
You know what I mean? Like
but somebody's doing it though.
Right. Yeah, I get you. I feel what you're saying. I'm just saying that the majority of the population, as they're being brought up, are not conditioned to want to face things head on. And I hope that is something within our society that changes very, very soon, because I think that's the root of a lot of the issues is that we suppress a lot of things, and that's how a lot of tower moments happen.
And we sit, all that brings us back and sitting to the cycle of this is a personal attack. So, you know, it's a vicious cycle.
And this is why we do tarot, folks. This is a very good reason to work with the tarot for spiritual development, for self-development. You know, there's many ways that you can utilize the tarot, but when you utilize it to work through your shit, to develop your ideals, to broaden your perspective, to heal facets, to shadow work, to create a better life for yourself, to instigate a change and, you know, open up a road for you, like you're using tarot in the best way possible. You can use tarot for fortune telling as well, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I'm saying that that's something else on top of that. You know, there's such a wealth of experience to be found in utilizing tarot for precisely this very thing that Allora and Chase and I are talking about right now, and that is to get yourself out of your own head, to stop the blame game, to stop saying that, oh my God, it's a personal attack. If you look at a personal attack as though it were a lesson, you're in this space of vipassana, right? Where you're experiencing the situation and you're not accepting it into your emotive centers. You're not accepting it into your intellectual centers. You're not judging it. You're not analyzing it. You are simply going, this is it. This is this reality right now. When you can experience that reality in its completion, you can see things in a way that you have never, ever seen things before. It is just an action. It's just a moment. It's just an interaction. And every moment is fleeting. A tower moment or a dark night of the soul might seem like it lasts for a year. But at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily last for a year. It's you that clings to that state for a year. And when you cling to something, you know that you've got stuff to work through and you've got some healing to do. And that's easier said than done. I'm not going to be the asshole that says, you've got healing to do and let's move on. That's the whole story. No, it's hard. The tower appears as a challenge. It's hard. It's a challenge. It's a lesson. It can be catastrophe. It can be epiphany. It can be life-changing. It can be life-destroying, you know, and wherever it appears in your life, if you are prepared to interact with that experience completely rather than shy away from it or, you know, look the other way or suppress it, if you're prepared to take a deep breath and go, this is shit, this is so fucking shit, but I'm still going to go and have this conversation. I'm just going to go and get it done, you know, as hard as it is to drag yourself to that plate and get it done. The quicker you start that, the better off you'll be, and the less severe the impacts of the tower will be. There are examples in our modern culture, in our human history, that exemplify the tower in such obtuse ways. And I shan't mention them today. I think we all know where I'm going with that. And then there are examples of the tower that are really extremely positive. Any breakthrough of illness, of disease, of vaccine, that in itself is a tower moment. You know, there is a positive and a negative to the tower. And both in human history have saved millions of lives and have taken millions of lives. So it depends on what side of the coin. And it's got nothing to do with upright and reversed either. A lot of people look at the reverse tower as though it's the complete opposite of the upright tower, and it's not really. It just distances yourself, you know, from that tower. Instead of the world crumbling in front of you because of you, affecting you, it might be crumbling for someone that you love, affecting someone that you love, but you're not in direct relation to that situation. It's not necessarily happening to you. You're witnessing it happening to somebody else. That's a way that you can actually view the tower experience. Or it can be, it seems like the worst thing in the world, but if you take a deep breath, have a sleep, have a cup of tea, it might not actually be as bad as you think. There's another aspect of the reverse tower. So make friends with the tower and understand that there's a duty of care that you need to take for yourself.
Sure. Let me do one more thing, and then we can move on from the tower. Just like clarifying really what I was saying, more of a I feel like I always use sports references and workout references, but it's my world, people. So in fencing, I don't know if anybody knows me that well or not, but I was going to be trying very hard to be a Olympic fencer. And so, so fencing is a huge thing for me. So a big piece of fencing, you want to put your blade where the target is going to be, not where it is, because everything happens in such small, minute milliseconds of moments. Like if you try to watch fencing on TV during the Olympics, you're missing all the big stuff because every movement is so small, but it's a huge, but it means a lot for the sport. So the big rule that we have is put the blade where the target's going to be, because by the time you put it where the target is, the target has already moved on. So the point of what I was trying to say was put your energy and your focus beyond the tower to where the sun is. That's what's going to help you get through the tower. Because by the time you already put your energy into the tower, you've already made it worse, or it's like life for you is already moving on. So just don't sit and wallow in it. Was my biggest point. You know, move forward. Put your energy into where you want to be. Right? Does that make sense?
That's exactly right.
For sure. For sure.
And I just want to put this little bit out there. In line with the concept of an epiphany, if you see the tower and you're feeling a bit of dread in your heart, one of the best ways to make friends with it is to ask, I want the epiphany. I want the solution to this problem to be presented to me now, skis. Like now, skis. And be open to receive. Be open to receive that. And then be prepared to act on it.
Yeah. Because pretty much like, that just makes me like, because I went through tower time a couple of years ago. And so that was kind of where I was at, like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then the answer was leave. So, and that was painful because I'm the one that was like, yeah, so I got to go. And just because you're the one that is controlling your tower moment or instigating it or starting it doesn't mean that it's any less heavy or any less difficult. I think for not for everybody, but certainly for me, I think that's harder than when it's something that I have, you know, that's happening to me, not because of me. Like I have a harder time with things that happen because of me. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like I have a harder time. Yeah, I have a harder time. Yeah, I just have a harder time with that. I don't know why, but that's me. Okay, so moving on. Yes?
Yes, let's move to the devil because it's staring at me.
All right, the devil. So the first thing that I think about when I think about the devil is addiction. Just take your mic. Don't mute yourself. Let's have a three-way discussion here.
Oh,
I almost said something else.
How forthcoming of you. Going to make you blush, ma'am.
Okay. No. Okay. So the first thing I think of when I see the devil is addiction. Like that's the first word that comes to my mind. But not necessarily addiction to. Certainly, it can be drugs, alcohol, negative things, but it can also be addiction to yoga. It can be addiction to healthy living. it can be. I mean, Chase, I mean, have you ever seen somebody come into your gym that's just there way too much and you're like, bruh? Or take it to like steroids.
That's Chase.
No, I mean, but like they get
Why
so
are we
addicted
talking about me right now? I'm uncomfortable.
They get so addicted to healthy living that then they take it to a place where they're like, yeah, now I can add steroids. And you're like, what are you doing?
Right. It really, like, it literally, it does go to a point where, like, you see, like, I can tell you and be very upfront with you and very forthcoming about the what do we call it? The downward slope that is the fit biz. So I want you guys to understand something, and I'm going to speak this as plainly and clearly as I can. So going to having clients that are on covers of magazines and, you know, showing you how to do workout in a magazine, you see them and they are cut and they are lean and they are, those are actually probably the least fit of us, because in order to do that and to be on that magazine, they've had to cut out all carbs, all water. They are not allowed to drink water 72 hours before. In order for them to look like that, they have to be completely and utterly unhealthy to do that. And so basically it's like a prune. Exactly.
Like you just suck everything out of them and then you have muscles.
Right. Because
that's horrible.
Let me tell you this too. So every single person that is listening to this and is on this panel has abdominal muscles. We all have a six-pack. The thing, like, you can develop it and you can make it stronger, but we all have a six-pack. It's all there. The thing that is in front of it is fat, and so it's not like these guys that are on the covers of these have just like done the right workouts and have made abdominals. No, they already have them. The thing that they don't have is any body fat whatsoever and no body water content. And, you know, they have done all these things to make that appear. Like, that's not healthy. They are not healthy either. And it takes just this super, because, and it happened, the downward slide is that you can get there really, really quick. Because, I mean, that's what a lot of us are trying to achieve when we go to the gym, right? We want that kind of physique. We want that body. And so we find out that we've gone through all these hours at the gym and that we still don't look like that. So we're like, fuck yeah, I'll starve myself. Hell yeah, I'm not going to drink any water because I want that, because I've already put in all this effort, you know, like it becomes that very, very quickly. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy either. So I just want you to keep that in mind. And as much as TV and magazines and put forth that everybody looks like that, they represent literally 1% of all of us. So as much as it's thrown into your face, it's really not as prevalent as you might think. And just keep in mind, I'm going to say, I say it loud, I'm going to say it many, many times, they are not the healthy ones. I'm not saying everyone, I'm not generalizing, I'm not saying everyone. There absolutely are people on the cover magazines who worked very hard naturally and the right way to get there, but the majority of them just are not on the spectrum of healthy either.
But my point of all that was that you can take something that's completely good for you and you can become so obsessed and addicted to it that it becomes something that is unhealthy. I think
that's
something that the devil represents to me.
Right. Because you've been addicted all this time to working out and you need that body, and then you find out, that's what I was saying earlier, like you're in the gym and you still don't have it. Well, yeah, I'm addicted to it. So yeah, I got to starve myself. Yeah, I got to, you know.
That's exactly. And there's a very big difference to a healthy habit and an addiction. A healthy habit is a person that goes, okay, I know that in order for me to be healthy, I need to do X, Y, and Z. And, you know, there'll be a day where it rains or they don't feel like it, and they'll just be like, nah, fuck it, I'm not going today. And that's okay, because, you know, they understand that it's important, but they also understand that, you know, if you're not in the mood, you're not in the right headspace, you're not going to get as much out of it. And anyways, but I would like to talk some keywords of, let me hold up my devils. Let me hold up my devils. Here's your devil. That's a very pretty devil. Isn't the wooden tarot a beautiful tarot deck?
It is amazing.
It's amazing. I have a gripe. In the Deviant Moon, I had such a hard time finding this card and I couldn't remember. I'm like, I know, I counted 78 cards in my deck. Why can't I see it? It's because it's the only major that doesn't actually have its title on the very bottom of the card, like this one here does. See, this is the devil. Anyway, that's death. Sorry, that's death. Now I've got the devil.
Well, anyway.
Now where we need to be. And this is the devil from the bone fire. Right? Anyways, that's a very, very good one, see, because it's got bondage, it's got dependency, you know, being bound to something. My keywords for the devil, right, are ecstasy, wild abandon, addiction, yes, and an unhealthy self-expression. It's excess.
Yeah, that's a good one. Excess.
Yeah, it's excess. It's sex for power over, not sex for pleasure, sex for power over. It's carnal urges, like unsatiable carnal urges. There is so much to the devil. But on the positive side,
we say temptation. Was that the
temptation? Yes, yes. There is a time and a place for wild abandon. There's a time and a place to give in to temptation. There's a time and a place. The devil is not the enemy. It's going to present you with the choices. And if you're strung up, if you're highly worked up, chances are you need a little devil in your life. You need to have a devil of a good time, you know. You need to have a little bit of, you know, wild abandon. You need to dance naked, ecstatic under the moon and express yourself. You need to go out and find somebody worthy who is non-diseased to have sex with, because that might be exactly what you need. You need to appreciate your body, appreciate the actual physicality of your human form, the boobs or lack thereof, the penis, the vagina. You need to actually make friends with your body. And sometimes the devil comes in because we're so used to robing up and pent up and prudish and, oh, don't touch me. And in fact, what you might need is just to lay on a bed and let somebody like rub your body in the form of a massage or a sensual experience, whichever one. But just loosen up and get in touch with the physicality of what you are in that very carnal way. The devil is about liberation as much as it is about constraint, depending, again, where you sit on that fence. If it comes to you in the form of liberation, then let the girls out from time to time. And if it comes to you in the form of constraints, put your bra on, love. You know, enough's enough. And, you know, and that theory can be applied across most things.
I think it's a lot of I keep trying to fumble with words in my head. I want to say temptation without boundaries, but that there's more to it, because like if I were to hold up my devil card, you see that the devil is ushering these, or not ushering, like being like, come here to this cliff and jump off of it. It's fun. You know, like we get talked into, like we have such temptation that like he's talking them into doing something that they obviously don't want to do, but we're in such
peer pressure.
Yeah, it's like it's such in this state. We can be convinced to do the dumbest shit ever. So I feel like the devil has taken that like common sense out of us, and we are easily swayed to do dumb things.
Domination is another one. Domination.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lording over somebody. You know, when power goes awry. See, that's that concept of power over, which if you've ever read Starhawk, who's a notorious pagan author, I mean notorious in a good way, she wrote, what is it called, Spiral Dance. She's really, really, really interested in this concept of power over, and it's something that I find quite fascinating about some of her works, some of her blog posts, some of her talks and things like that. And it's this, the devil is the power over, and we can each be the devil or we can each be exposed to the devil. As a parent, I have power over, you know, and I can take that power over too far. If I'm not aware of what I'm doing, it's easy to scream and smack your kids. I don't scream and smack my kids. No, I scream. I don't smack my kids. But it's easy. You see that, out in public, you can see parents interacting with their children. I'm just using this, one example. You can see it in workplaces. Like I refuse to go to this restaurant, which is very close to me, right on the beachfront, that I used to love to go, because I caught the boss you know, belittling his employees at the cash register while I was standing there with my card. That's power over. There's no need for that kind of shit, you know? And in my situation, that's me having an experience with the devil and making a decision that that is not something that I will support. So I pay my dues and I never go back there. That's my little, you know, silent protest in that regard. But there are other aspects of the devil that I will exercise. I will tempt people. I'm very good at tempting people. I'm actually.
Oh, you mean like this morning? I wake up to a post on Facebook saying, "Australian Allora is great. Keep her here," and I'm like, "What?" I haven't even had coffee yet.
We've all been in that position. We've all been in that position where we've loved something. We've seen a movie, we've got a bottle of perfume, we've eaten at a great restaurant, and we're like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing. You have to have this. Guess what? You're devil. You're the devil.
So could we call the devil a battle with the ego then? I mean, that's fair, right?
It's a battle with commercialism as well. It's a battle with industry.
But capitalism is something you can be addicted. You know what I mean? You can become obsessed with.
Mm-hmm. I had my experience with you know, being like a house full of money that I spent that was represented by things, and I felt so claustrophobic one day. I got straight in touch with my temperance card, and I did the minimalist thing, and I did the simplifying thing, and I got rid of a lot of stuff. That was the devil all around me. That was me not utilizing my resources effectively and getting swept up in the I want more of, getting swept up in the propaganda, getting swept up in the commercialism of it all, and losing sight of my inner spirit. Like, I'm the type of person that I want to live off grid in a yurt, in a tiny, you know, in a small yurt. I want to live very simply. So why the fuck was I keeping on going out and buying all this stuff to fill up this, you know, concrete brick of a thing, and then feeling so unhappy by it? You know, it's influence. It's an influence situation.
So I also want to talk about the fact that, okay, so there's, I've been watching the chat, and there was a comment about hedonism, and that sparked other words in my brain for the devil, which is heathenism and primality and possession.
Yep.
Like, those are all words that I think of. And so when we talk about, well, first of all, the devil is ruled by it's aspected with Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. And we all know that Saturn is our awesome planetary friend of karmic things. And Saturn's kind of a dick. It's the dick planet of all the planets. Like, if you ask most people who follow astrology, Saturn can be shit but it's dependent on you. It kind of brings around all the things you have to face, all the things you can't hide from, brings all of your flaws, faults, etc. to the surface. But I will say, if we're talking about making friends with the devil, I love what Avalon said about, you know, if you are tightly wound, you may need to have a devil of a good time, which is great. But I also love the devil for its primality. Like, what I mean by that is, it's I want to go outside and be naked and dig my hands in the dirt and just be the animalistic creation that I am, because you know, that's what my journey has been this past year. I think a lot of times human beings forget that we are animals, and there are primal instincts and urges and things like that that because of modern society we lack, or we don't have conscious thought about often, or we deny, or we don't satiate. And I think that's, and you know, and just, this is just a side note, I think that's part of the reason why we have some of the crime that we have, because we are animals and we don't have an outlet for the animalistic things that are in us. naturally. So if you don't like do something constructive and healthy and etc. to get that out, then where does it go?
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay.
Yeah.
And wait a minute. Here's my devils. This one's from Terror the Vampire. I love how she's holding his crotch. Really. Well, I mean, it's true. And then this one I couldn't find. I thought somebody took it out of the deck because it says chains instead of.
God, I love that card so much.
Thanks for this deck, Chase.
You're so welcome.
I love you.
So let me ask you this. So obviously, like, I'm in the middle of this Man Up series, and I have been writing hella notes because I want to bring this into a video that I am about to make. So would you consider the devil energy a masculine, like archetypal? I'm not talking about societal or anybody that gets offended. Are we talking like on an archetypal level, a masculine energy?
Not neutral.
No, because you can have, so yes, like you have that masculine side of the devil, but you also have the siren and the seductress and the, I mean, oh yeah.
Wouldn't that still be considered, and again, I'm just asking questions, not disagreeing. Wouldn't you consider that a masculine energy? Because that's what is making you go out and do these things. It is getting you up and being like, but I have to do these things.
But it'll also make you feel the things.
Yeah.
Feel all the things.
And it also depends on how you define divine feminine. Because for some people, it's just the feels. For other women, it is the act of being sensual and sexual and those type of things. You know what I mean? So you want to be alluring. You want, you know what it just depends on how you define things, I think.
I consider it to be incredibly neutral, as in it's influenced only, it can only be determined when interacting in a situation. So the devil in a situation will determine its gender in that moment. And so that, I think that's what makes it rather brilliantly insidious, is that in a group of guys, traditional blokey blokes, it's going to be masculine. You're going to feel a lot of from it. In a group of traditional women, you're going to feel a lot more like sensuality, a lot more pleasure, a lot more, emotive stuff. In a combination, gender fluids, you're going to feel and experience it in a very uniquely different way each and every time. And, I can honestly say that in any time I've had my brush up with the devil, I've never genderfied it. I've never anthropomorphized it necessarily. And I've always thought it to be a uniquely neutral energy. I find the tower neutral and I find death neutral. And that's one of the things that makes this, the big three, very difficult to determine, is because if you can understand some of the humanistic aspects of a card, you can better relate to it. But if you can't, then it becomes very difficult to connect with. And having cards like this.
So it makes them very successful and very good at what they do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
I'm writing things. Don't mind me.
Good.
I'm going to need you to write this down.
I would like to say that moderation and variety are really good medicines for the devil. For people who are stifled, it's because their life lacks variety. I'm not going to tell them what their life lacks, but it lacks variety. To live a full and successful and happy and healthy life, you need to be engaged in a variety of different things. Those things are up to you as a human to experience for yourself. But, little travel, a little good food, a little sex, a little, hike up a hill, a little exercise, a little reading time. It's variety. A good time from time to time. Like my husband and I know that we have, we're very bound to our children. We don't have family that lives close. We don't have babysitters. So it's just me, my husband, my 3 children. We don't have a babysitter. So do you know how often my husband and I can get to go away and do something together? We never get to do that. But just because we never get to do that now, it doesn't mean we won't be able to do that in the future. So what I do is I provide him with the opportunity to go and do that for himself, and he provides me with the opportunity to go and do that for myself. And so we're still accessing that level of variety in keeping with what is in alignment with our current situation of being. And that's essentially what most people will need to do to connect with that aspect of variety. And then moderation. You know, a beer in the afternoon is fine. 20 beers in the afternoon and you've got issues, but a beer from time to time is fine. Going out dancing it's fun from time to time. Sitting in front of your computer playing computer games on a rainy day, that's fine. You know, watching back-to-back Lord of the Rings, that's fine, in moderation. If that's your everyday, if every day you're chained to your computer, if every day you're chained to social media, if every day you're chained to something and you can't go without it, you just have to look and you have to play and you have to touch, you've got to read it, and I'm going to run for a run. Every day you have to do that, then you might be more in touch with the devil than most of us. So,
okay, guys, we are like an hour in. So do we want to do the death card or do we want to get to slinging cards?
I think we should do the death really quickly. I think the death is the easiest of all three.
Okay, cool.
And then let's get to reading. I have to be out of this house by 1:45, so I've got to pick up my kids from school, so I've got about half an hour.
All right, so quickly, death card. I don't look at the death card as a bad card at all. I think the name itself is what is scary about this card. Yes, it indicates an ending of some sort, but like the old adage says, beginnings are often disguised as endings. And so when I have the death card come up, it's something that I actually look forward to because it means that something new is going to be happening for me. And it doesn't necessarily mean that whatever's ending is something that I don't want to end. Sometimes, most of the time, it's stuff that I'm ready to be over. Whether it's a good example for that is when school ends every semester, typically the death card will show up because that semester is over. So what's next on the agenda type thing. When it is applied spiritually, when we're looking at it in a spiritual aspect, that's a little bit more difficult for me just because spirituality and your own spiritual practice doesn't come with an instruction book and nobody tells you like what exactly is ending and what's coming next. And so you can't really, being who I am, I like to prepare for things. I like to have a plan. I like to know what's going on. And it drives me insane when I don't have any clue at all. So I struggle a little bit with that. But yeah, so this is the death card. And I love this death card because she's laying in a coffin, but she has a snake around her. And let me see. Yeah. And the snake represents the fact that snakes shed their skin. And so they shed the old stuff to get ready for the new stuff. So that's really cool. And in the fantastical creatures, it's represented by a snake as well and a spider. Because spiders, I don't know if this is true for every day. I think it's every day. Don't they weave a web every day? Yeah. Like at the end of every day, they destroy the web that they built that day, and then the next day they build another one. So
generally, yeah.
I thought it was like every day. But anyways, so that's what I think of when I look at the death card: opportunity, the end of a cycle, completion, wholeness, starting new doors opening, and old ones closing.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
So let's talk about key differences between, not to go back to a previous card, but I mean, not necessarily, I guess for me, but for everybody else too. So let's talk about some key differences between Death and Tower, because as we talk about general archetypal energy, they sound awfully similar.
So with the Tower, the difference between, okay. The difference between, for me, the Tower and death is the Tower is complete destruction of something, where death is complete cycle completion of something. Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, so I'd say that's the biggest difference for me. So although both represent something coming to an end and there having to be a new beginning, I would say that death is kinder when it comes around, where that's concerned, because it's like, it's more like, okay, this cycle is complete, everything is fulfilled. There's just a sense for me of wholeness whenever the death card comes around.
So say we had the death card, say we were doing I don't guess it really matters what kind of spread, but let's say we're doing the Celtic Cross spread, and we had the death card as well. And that's not a very good example because everything has their own place in the Celtic Cross spread. We're doing a general spread, starting over. And the death card comes up, and this is me rewinding. The death card, and we had the Tower come into the same reading. So would you say that the Tower would then trump the death card? Maybe not trump, define the death card?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it would depend on the other cards, A, and B. I would...
So is the Tower a stronger archetypal energy?
I would say that it's the stronger archetype, and I would also say that if it appears with the Devil, then it shows the destruction of something and the acceptance of that destruction in accordance with being able to move on.
Wait, we're talking the death card. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, the death. Yeah.
Okay.
Tower, death. Tower, be death. So I'd say definitely the destruction. So something has crumbled, something has been destroyed, something has been destabilized, something has been put into a catastrophic state of turmoil. And then the death card comes in. Consider it the cool ice on top of a very sore wound. It's gonna end. And it's the acceptance of that, you know. Sometimes when something destabilizes and begins to crumble, well, we have a tendency that reflex to hold on, because we hold on to what's familiar. As human beings, we're creatures of habit. We hold on to what's familiar. Whether it's painful or not, we hold on to what's familiar because, you know, it's easier to the thing that you know and that you're used to, rather than this newness. You never know what the newness is going to be, you know, and some people fear the newness. And so there's that necessity to hold on. When the Devil comes in, it says it's okay to let go, and you're going to let go, and then acceptance is going to come of the process, and you're going to be able to start fresh. And it alters the transition. Rather than it being so harsh, death will come through because it's ruled by Scorpio. That's you know, that's water. That's dark, you know, beautiful dark water, cooling water. So it comes through to cleanse it and complete that process. So rather than being left with all these sharp shards of glass that you've got, that perpetual flowing water will eventually wear over everything and create a nice, fluid, smooth transition where rainbows blossom.
Just don't.
And birdies tweet.
I have a feeling you're mixing old songs, and I'm gonna need you to stop. That was like Somewhere Over the Rainbow meets Rockin' Robin. Like that's
right.
Oh, okay. So do we have anything to add to that?
Endings as well as beginnings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, truly and honestly, there is nothing to fear with the death card. Basically, my point, what I want to come across.
It's the card of great relief for me. When I see the death card, it's all pressure's off. It's Dunskies. It's Dunskies. End of a cycle, end of a time, end of a phase, end of a relationship. And most of the time when you see it, you know that it's over. It's the recognition of the fact that it's over. It's you see it and then you're able to say it out loud. Holy shit, it's over. It's done. I'm done with that cycle.
I think that for me is the biggest difference between the death and the Tower. I think the Tower represents well, that came out of nowhere. What the fuck? And then you have the death card. I think everybody, we know it's lingering. It's looming. I guess that's more the word. It's looming. We've seen it. But now, you know, we're not really sure what it's doing. I think the death is more confirmation. As more of the Tower is more of a, holy shit, this is happening.
The time has come. Right. It's one of those situations where You know, you have to, there's a great deal of personal acceptance, and that's the surrender that we were talking about. If you can surrender, then you reach that state. You can complete that cycle of chaos with the tower, and you can come to that, you know, to that acceptance. And then what you can do is then dance with the devil afterwards. Go out, have a beer, have a hell of a good time, just to help you recover a little bit from these, you know, this transition that you've gone, but in moderation. That's what I've got.
Alrighty, so now y'all's favorite part of these shows, we are going to start slinging cards. So I'm going to let everybody know, for those of you who are it's your first time with us, anytime that we sling cards around here, we ask that you put your question in all capital letters in the chat so that we can see it really, really bold and clear. And we will take them in order as best we can. I am going to go refill my coffee, and you guys go ahead and shuffle and start copy and pasting, and I'll be back.
I've got to go to the little girl's room, so.
Well, it's just me, folks.
It's just Chase.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to STW. My name is Chase 2Ls. Welcome. Welcome. How are you guys tonight? How are you guys? I think this has been a really, of course, I love getting in depth with tarot and breaking down archetypes and all those kinds of things. That's my favorite thing to do. So it's been good for me. Was it good for you? And you all have had some really fantastic conversation in the chat too. I've been trying to keep up, but I've been also taking a lot of notes. A lot of notes. I have a couple pages worth. So if is there anybody? If you have a question, please put it in all caps, and then so then we can see it, and then I will start taking the questions and putting them into our personal chat, which is over this a ways. And then we will try. We try to keep them in a nice, orderly fashion. And if we skip somebody, sorry. Whoa, happening. All right. All right, Chrome, I got you. Floria Willow, got you. Ooh. All right, so we got two. Anyone else? Anyone else? You guys, I've not used this deck in such a long time. I'm really excited to pull this baby back out. So excited. Because I can't do any more serious tonight. How successful will I be with my February-March deck buying ban? Hey, that's a legit question. That is a legit question. And now that the camera's all on me, everybody's going to hear me sniffle. I am dealing with some super allergies right now. Super dupes.
Do you think I should go with Bonefire?
Yes.
Bonefire tarot or wooden tarot?
No.
Bonefire or wooden?
No.
Bonefire it is.
All right.
Do you know what? I went to my post box yesterday and I got a parcel from Gabby Angus West.
Yes.
And she had painted a picture of me. I'm a bone stone. She put it on a little canvas and everything. I thought it was
the dopest.
You know, there's a lot of art with my face out there on it at the moment, guys, and I'm pretty
fantastic.
I'm starting to think I might
first, we did it first
on YouTube.
I just don't understand it. I'm like, how did I
know, like it amazes me every time. Like every time somebody sends me something in the mail, I'm like, wow, this is neat, but why? I mean, I love it, but love it.
Okay, so folks, I'm going to be using the Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West, which is traditionally my Beltane deck. But you know what? Today we're just going to go with it.
It sounds so much better when you say it. The Bonefire.
Bonefire.
I'm going to be using the Bonefire Tarot.
Yeah,
I can't wait for the day I say, I'm going to be using the Bone, Stone, and Earth Flesh.
Bone, Stone, and Earth Flesh Tarot.
Say it.
Tarot card.
It.
I use the tarots. Oh, did you
I can't
see
wait till the day
that?
that I say, okay, what deck shall I use today? Oh, what about my own? I'll just use my own. How about that?
I'm so excited for that day. I am so excited.
And I'm going back to my like ride or die. My what is this? Shit. Wizard's Tarot.
I knew you were going to say that when you said ride or die. I'm like, it's the Wizards.
But my other ride or die is definitely New Era. But that one is like personally connecting right now, so I don't think that would be a good choice.
I'm not allowed to use the deck I'm personally thinking with, so it's whatever.
Well, we were asked not to.
I know, and it hurts my soul. It's sitting there, though, staring at me, crying just a little bit.
Okay, so this whole tarots thing came from Sassy Mantra. If you guys don't follow on Instagram, it's hilarious. And she was doing like shit spiritual people have to listen to from Muggles. And one of the ones she did was like, said, "Do you play with the tarots?"
Oh, I don't believe in that. But would you do reading for me?
When people mispronounce tarot, it makes me violent.
I know.
Like it's a simple word.
Violent.
You say it like it's spelt.
Tarot.
No.
There's a
Tarot.
T on the. There's a T
Well,
on
here in
the.
Australia, we don't do the T at the end of anything.
Oh, okay.
No, you don't. But you add R's to things that there aren't R's on, like vagina.
No, we add
Yogurt.
Z's.
You said
Whatever.
yogurt earlier.
Whatever.
Yeah, but you also
That's-
add R's. R's and Z's, yes. Okay, this deck wants to read.
I know, right? All right, so our first question is from Chrome, and she asks, do I get better at choosing a direction in the...
How do I get better?
How do I was like, huh? How do I get better at choosing a direction in the moment? I confused the shit out of myself. All right.
Thank you, Solaria. I just read your comment. I really need to start reading some people's comments. All right, what was it, Chrome? How do I get better at choosing a direction in the moment?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my
I'll go first. I want first.
Why? Why? You have privileges or something.
Defensive. Like, you need to stop being so defensive. Like the Seven of Wands, you need to stop being so defensive. So rather than feeling as though you're
just need to let people use the resources around them. So
stop being so defensive. Stop being so defensive. That one's for you too, Chase.
Okay, I don't know what just happened.
we just had a moment.
I had a moment.
We had a soul moment, you know.
We sure did.
A soul moment.
Hashtag soulment.
Felt like a soul.
Spiritual clowns.
Felt like a soul headbutt. It felt like a soul headbutt. How you gonna hashtag that one? Soul butt?
Soul butt. Let's not hashtag that one. I don't think that one will come across the right way. Just a thought, an idea.
Okay. Seriously though. Okay. So are you two done or what?
We're done. I've got 15 minutes, guys. Let's fly through these.
All right.
Yep.
Mine was the Four of Swords, so chill the fuck out. Chill out. Okay, next. Just relax and don't try to force a direction, basically. That's what that was saying. Let me dealing with my own tower situation in the next 3 months. Solaria.
Will I be dealing with my own tower situation? Tower situation. Tower situation.
High Priestess, you already know the answer to this. Why are you asking? The High Priestess is representative of intuition, divination, and all of those wonderful qualities of spiritual people. So I would say really listen to your own intuitive leanings and your gut feeling. Next. I mean, you guys, what do you got?
Me. Don't play the martyr. 10 of Wands. Don't play the martyr. Okay, except that there are situations that you're going to require to reach out of your own sphere of capabilities, and you're going to have to move through some pride and ask somebody to help you, because trying to lug all of that weight while the world is resting on your shoulder and trying to achieve something as a result of that will not go well for you. And if you're already battling with the idea of the tower in your head, then this type of mentality is not going to get you far. So.
Indeedly do. So I actually, this is funny that this would be the card that comes up, because this is, I'm going to answer this with the sun in context. So if you remember, we were talking earlier about how the tower blocks the sun. So are you going to go through a tower moment? Yeah, probably. We all have them, but you have to remember that going through the tower moment, as soon as divine intervention strikes that tower, this is what's waiting for you on the other side. So will you?
Successful expansion.
Yes.
Ooh.
Ah.
I'm sorry, this is hilarious. Okay, so Molly Black and Blue. Because I can't do any more serious tonight. How successful will I be with my February, March deck buying ban? So 2 cards fell out. So, and it's so hilarious. So the 9 of Wands and the 9 of Swords.
Oh, well.
So I think your deck buying ban, you're gonna stick to it, but you're gonna hate it. Like you're really gonna have anxiety about not buying new decks. I'm sorry. But that was pretty funny. The deck was being cheeky because you were being cheeky.
Indeed.
Oh gosh. 3
of Wands, same thing, yes, but you'll have anxiety about it. It's not going to be fun, right?
Oh no. God, what did she get? Yes, no, yes, no.
You're going to want to punch someone in the face. Look at this one.
You are.
You're gonna tower somebody.
I bet you don't do another one of these for a while. Right. After you're done.
So happy. That's so fun.
I have a personal project on the books for 2018. Is this a smart time to work on it, or could it derail my business goals?
Well, let me answer that astrologically before we get into the cards. So right now, with sort of this Leo energy, is it good to start something right now? Yeah, it's a building energy, you know? So I would say in that, before we even get to the cards, if you're going to do it, I would consider doing it. If you're anywhere close to being ready, do it while you have this energy around you. Start building plans. You know, Leo is all about building. So yeah, I mean, build plans. There's nothing wrong with ever just building a plan, making a plan. That's going to give you a good idea regardless of whether you're really ready or not, if you can successfully make plans. Moving on. Cards.
Okay, so the cards that came up for me are Queen of Swords. Queen of Cups, my bad. Queen of Cups, 5 of Wands, and Ace of Swords. So this is something that you need to have planned out, analyzed. You need to be decisive about. This is not something that you can just wing or start creating on a whim. This has to be very meticulously strategized, I would say. You have to also make sure your intent and your emotions and your heart is in it, and that you're investing. I would say investing your emotions in the correct places with this personal project. And also, if you go through with this personal project, I would say please don't try to do it on your own, and lean on the people around you who are fueling your flames, because the teamwork aspect is there as well. Okay, go. I'm trying to do this as fast as I can.
I got the magician. And so the magician is an arsey motherfucker and who is more than capable of bringing it when it needs to. But in this particular situation, as I am the last card, it shows that you might need to bring a little bit of magic. You might need to be prepared to embrace a little bit of magic in order to get any projects that you are aiming to complete in 2018 across the line. So be open to that universal burst of glorious magic that comes in very serendipitous ways from time to time. And be prepared to take from the ether and ground it down just like the magician would. So it's really that complete channeling process and putting into action the very things that soul is guiding you to do. So if you stay in alignment with that soul guidance, you're going to be able to manifest some really beautiful stuff for yourself.
Beautiful.
Bingo.
Did you get anything?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it was basically, I drew the Ace of Wands, which is basically everything I just said. So for the
hang on, did you both draw the ace? You both drew the Ace of Wands.
She drew the Ace of Swords. I drew the Ace of Wands.
Ah, beginnings. That's two beginnings.
Mm-hmm. You are ready to make a plan, certainly.
Okay, last one. What influences am I missing in handling my current responsibilities? Joe.
The Tower. You're missing the
Don't
Tower.
be afraid to fuck shit up.
You're missing that divine epiphany. You're missing that bolt from the blue. So you're going to have to come and muster up some of that, exciting potential that you've got brewing around there in that impressive cerebral cortex of yours. And come up with a really great epiphany. And you might actually need to deconstruct quite a few things in order to, to make your current responsibilities more manageable. So get prepared to pull some shit apart. Treat it like it would be Lego. Treat it like Lego. Pull some pieces here, create something new out of it. Make sure that you use every single piece of Lego in the already current, creation and go for gold.
It's funny is you are saying epiphany, so this might help with that epiphany. It seems, so this is the Six of Cups. So basically, the problem is you don't enjoy your current responsibilities, and when you don't enjoy things and you're not happy with where you just become unhappy with where you're at, and then that weighs on you. And it affects your state of gratitude and the way that you live and so forth and so on. So I would say that you need to bring back some joy into your current responsibilities in some way or another. And as Avalon was saying, treat it like Lego, deconstruct deconstruct your responsibilities, like analytically, and see where you can fit in some more time to be childlike.
Yep.
Chase, what is happening to your screen?
Computers are fun. So I have drawn the Nine of Coins. So I think the thing that you are missing is intention in your actions. This is about being confident and being confident in who you are and being like putting your best foot forward and being confident in that. So we can step on stage and we can open our mouths and sing, or we can step on stage and open our mouths to sing confidently. There is a big difference between the two, and we can see that often when we go see a play or you see actors acting, or even in the Super Bowl yesterday, many American football fans, but like you could tell the difference between the Eagles and the Pats. Some people came to play confidently, and some people just came to play because the Pats get comfortable because it's like their 9 millionth Super Bowl. And so there's a difference when you step in because you have to, and you step in because you want to, and you want to effectively put energy out there. So find that energy and find that purpose, and that will give you your confidence.
Yay! Okay, guys. Well, we have got to get out of here because we are unfortunately adults and have other things to do. Chase has to sleep, Av has to mom, and I have magical, spiritual things to write and create and conjure. So I will let them say goodbye to you, and then I will take us out. Avalon? Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for hanging out with us, and I hope that we've been able to, you know, to make those three a little bit more approachable, or at least, at the very least, give you a different perspective on how to handle them should you see them in a reading. So it's all about empowerment, guys. So, you know, absorb it, understand that you're in control, and, you know, work your will in accordance with that which you are in direct alignment with. So be very authentic when you're moving through the cards.
Chase?
As always, thank you guys for being you, because without you, we cannot be us. So we love you guys immensely, and we're just so grateful for you, and thank you for hanging out with us. And again, I hope that this, you know, it's fun when I come on to this show with these two, because, you know, we present things and we are teaching people things. But when I get to sit here and I get to leave this, and I'm like, I learned so much shit. That's fucking dope. So, you know, when I get to have the opportunity to wear both hats at the same time, it's pretty freaking dope. So I loved this chat, and the same with our last chat that we had a couple of weeks ago, 50 Shades of Tarot. I learned a lot of shit. So I just love it. It's endlessly loving. And, you know, I love you guys, and I'm sending all my loving energy your way. We will talk to you very, very soon. Love you guys.
All right, guys. Well, this is the end for us and me. And I just want to let you guys know that STW schedule will be changing. We will probably be changing days. We will be changing times. So keep lookout for that. And as far as all of our personal projects, if you're interested in those, go like our STW page on Facebook. You can also find us all individually on Facebook as well, and Instagram. Check us out by our names. We're all on those platforms. So, all right, guys. Well, we love you. Thank you for hanging out with us, and we will see you soon.
See ya.